Thank you so much, Camellia, for joining us on a podcast with Dawdle. I was kind of going through a profile, prolific one, especially in the space of cybersecurity and related, technology spaces. So as we will be doing in this podcast, the structure will be like the initial 2-3 minutes. You will be talking about yourself, your experiences, your contribution to the industry so far. And then we will go into the two companies that, you run right now. One is X-PHY, if I'm pronouncing it well, and the
Yeah,
second one is FLEXXON. So
yep.
we'll try to understand what problem that you're solving with these two products or solutions, and then in the last part we will get to your experience, before starting these companies, where we discuss about the various business challenges. Yeah,
Sure.
the various business challenges that you feel the industry is facing and how it can be solved. So we'll start with the first part. Camellia, over to you. Tell us, a bit about yourself, your experiences so far, and your contributions.
Okay, so before founding the FLEXXON, I actually worked with a few. Maybe I'll just give you a brief of my background here, why I started off FLEXXON, and then from there, how we actually pivot into cybersecurity business. So before founding FLEXXON, I worked at the multinational companies. I always had a very entrepreneurial kind of mindset while working for others, focusing on driving growth, creating the values, building the very efficient system for the teams and the companies. And from there, when I moved into more senior role, so we are seeing a lot of more political factors whereby the promotion wasn't really based on the merit. And from there, I have a mind that why we build someone else's vision. So is it possible that I could build my own? So I started FLEXXON. So FLEXXON is a company that design and manufacture the secure storage solutions, and with a focus on the industrial, medical, military, automotive, aerospace kind of very niche market. And by building my own company, I will be able to shape both directions and the culture where performance and value truly matter. So we begin in the Hong Kong and very soon move into our headquarters to Singapore, where the country, Singapore, values meritocracy, efficiency, and integrity, which very align with our values. So in the beginning, I have to personally run a lot of things. Even I remember that last time can carry the product sample across the countries, meeting the customers face to face in order to build trust. And from there, we built a very strong foundation and grew globally, especially expanded our network in the US and Europe. So, because we have been in the memory storage business for years and very often heard from the customers after they were hit by a ransomware, their data is being encrypted and being stolen. And that lead us to ask if tampering happened in the memory, why the physical layer, the memory itself, whether they have such a smart intelligence system that able to detect it when there's any tampering in the memory level. So instead of relying on the software update uh, for the humans for the constant update, we have the idea trying to shift the detections, the intelligence detection system into the memory layer so that we are able to leverage the hardware environment which operate in a more controlled environment so that you do not have to deal with tons of ever changing kind of factors where physical anomalies can be disguised as well. Maybe given the very simple and straightforward analogy here. So it's just like a polygraph test. You can fake your words, but your heartbeat or the sweat, they won't tell lie. So similarly, if someone tamper with memory, those physical signal that will show out and reflect at the physical attribute. That's how X-PHY able to detect them real time. And this is how we built the X-PHY to aim to catch the zero-day threats from the inside out without needing the constant update or human monitoring.
Got it. Got it. Now, this was pretty nice, because this was going to be my first question after that. Is that cybersecurity in an hardware embedded world. And many companies still rely heavily on software-based cybersecurity solutions. What are the limitations of these traditional approaches, especially in the context of ransomware and zero-day threats?
So I guess you are referring to how hardware, the challenging part for hardware, how it detect the zero-day threats.
And how is it better than the software-based cybersecurity solution?
Okay, hardware is just like if you are changing the rules, having the humans to withdraw money physically at the bank, you will deal with, you are in such a structured and well-controlled kind of process and protocol. So you do not have to deal with tons of ever-changing environment. So at the same time, when you have your own rules, just like you build your own playground, so both, whether you are hackers or you are defenders, when you come to our playground that we built, you have to comply within our environment that's set for the protocol. And that way, we will not, just like software, we will not have to continue to update based on the database library. Given the very simple and straightforward example like policeman, because policeman is actually catch the criminal based on the the criminal's records. Only when you committed the crime, then you are able to identify the bad actors from the database. But for the physical layer, because we look at how you access to the data, there's a certain set of rules of how you access the read write, the behavior, how you access to the data. Once there's a kind of anomalous kind of read write activities, for example, like ransomware is immediately encrypt your file, so it will trigger a spike on in terms of your read write behavior. So we know that this is a kind of like anomalous activities based on how it actually reflect on the physical attribute.
Absolutely. And this is quite different actually, Camellia, because I'm yet to meet a solution which actually is handling threats in this particular way. How does this idea came to your mind and what kind of customers do you serve?
We have been in the memory storage industry for past many years. We have conversation with customers. They were got hit by ransomware, as mentioned earlier. So from there, it triggered the idea that if we have such a detection system like polygraph that embedded inside the memory, when the data is being modified, it will immediately trigger our protections mechanism. Is an intelligent detection system that lies in the physical layer. That way, we do not have to rely on the humans for the constant updating, and you will be able to catch the zero-day attack, which is so-called the unknown threats, the totally new threats that yet to exist in the software definition library.
Yes, I got it. And what are the kind of customers which your product at X-PHY serves? Like the industries, the types of customers?
Okay, so basically, we are addressing the cybersecurity from a very different methodology and approach. We are trying to fill in the gaps which left behind by software. I would say that we are able to serve, all the digital citizens, but at this point, we are more focusing on those sectors and industry that uh, which is very highly sensitive in terms of protecting the data and the system. Because data and the system configuration data is actually residing inside the memory. So this is the focus that, we will prioritize our focus.
Maybe like banks, NBFC.
Yeah, banking, I would say government agency, financial sector like bank you have mentioned, or the financial institute.
Insurance, insurance companies. Right?
I would say medical, healthcare industry, yeah, manufacturing as well, the OT space, because at this point, OT and IT converge. So
Yes.
there's a lot of, especially for OT space, some of the OT devices, they don't even able to host the cybersecurity software. So
Yes.
the hardware will come into the play, yeah, especially for the OT space.
So can I say basically that you are trying to solve cybersecurity for OT, operational technology, which is there in any industry?
No, not really. We are trying to focusing on protecting the data and the system configuration data, which cater for all the different, the various verticals, not just limited to OT space.
Got it. I got it. And now, so I will come on like, what are your competitive advantages? Like, suppose if I talk about X-PHY, you have a different approach to handling cybersecurity threats, but there will be, other companies in this space who will be trying to solve with your kind of an approach or slightly different. But what are those competitive edges that you have over those other products?
Competitor, I would say that we don't really have a direct competitors because we are trying to address the cybersecurity from a very different methodology and different approach. So software, they are very database driven approach. They heavily rely on humans for the constant updating. But for us, we are trying to tackle the zero-day threats. So meaning that the unknown and the new threats that yet to exist in the software definition library. So it's a totally two different way of addressing the problem. For software, which is more cater for the known threats, which already exist in the database, whereby our solutions is a real-time detections. We are trying to identify the unknown threats. So we are complement on top of the software, whereby software continue building their ecosystem, and we are able to come in to address the gaps, which is a zero-day attack.
I got it. So the main stakeholders who will be evaluating your products will be, I think, the CIOs and the IT leaders of these various organizations, or maybe the CXOs as well. And since it's a new approach altogether, Camellia, so how are you trying to build that trust in them? How are you trying to implement this solution, which is a bit different from the software-based security solutions, which they are already habitual to?
Yeah, I agree. And we are still very new in the ecosystem. This is why you imagine the same thing happened to NVIDIA 20 years back. So nobody is imagine that one day the GPU is going to replace the CPU for the AI. So the same thing here. We are still in very new in the cybersecurity ecosystem, but we continue to work with the more visionary kind of early adopters and also very visionary kind of partners to build the ecosystem, to build the foundations of the ecosystem. So the shifting of the mindset is critical, and we have to do a lot of awareness, educational kind of, to share with the key stakeholder that you just mentioned, the CSO, CIO, or even the CEO have to take the lead, or even board of director. They have to understand that cybersecurity is no longer sufficient based on the software approach. They have to bring in the hardware based security in order for them to be able to tackle the zero-day attack, especially protecting the data at the core level.
Yes, absolutely. And one of the things that that is basically there is that if you talk about a lot of hardwares, like you were talking about police, traffic lights, and all those, they don't deploy security measures because the cost goes pretty high, and that was one of the concerns that one of the person I was talking to was mentioning, and that is the reason why, especially talking from the OT perspective, uh, you know, uh, the security measures are not in place because it increases the cost and then it reduces their competitive advantages, in terms of selling it to the clients. So your insights on that, Camellia, I think you are an expert. You will be able to explain this better.
Then is how you actually determine the cost, right, in the overall perspective. Because once you got hit, you have to pay for the reputational cost. Not just the reputational cost. You have to face the disruptions of your operation. So it's how you perceive in a way that how do you define the total cost. Yeah, I would say that based on the current cybersecurity tools, which is only able to handle the non-threats. You do not have something that able to handle something very new, the emerging threats, the new threats. So as a corporate and the company, you need something that able to deal with the threats that is going to compromise or after your data or your system. No matter what, I would think that AI embedded hardware will be a game changer for cybersecurity. It will become a next frontier of the cybersecurity solutions and to complement on top of the software solutions.
Absolutely. Now I will go to FLEXXON. So tell us a bit about FLEXXON. What does it do? What is the problem that is solving? what kind of customers you are serving?
Okay, so FLEXXON, we have a totally different business model compared to the X-PHY in. FLEXXON mainly focus on serving the very niche customers. They are from industrial, medical, military, automotive, aerospace, and then we are providing our storage solutions who require very ruggedized longevity support, high reliability kind of storage solutions into their system. So we are supporting those kind of customers.
I got it. And the company is for is running for the last 18 years, it seems. So uh, must have been a huge customer base. Which geographies they are located? If you could like to, touch upon that.
I mean, okay, so we have been serving the 500 Fortunes company across uh, the globe, and we have been serving the global company. Yeah.
Now, as far as my understanding goes, is that, this is very much relevant for industries where equipments operate in very harsh environments.
Mm-hmm.
And there are issues relating to data integrity and storage challenges which are being overlooked. And your innovation in this storage space help address these high reliability use cases.
Okay, so basically, from a solutions point of view, there are two perspectives. If you are talking about harsh environments, so the companies like space technology, or you are talking about military kind of applications, they will require harsh environment. At the same time, they will require security storage. But some of the company, like maybe the industrial application, they will just need a harsh kind of storage devices. They might not need the security devices. So it's a two different aspect in terms of solutioning. So it's subject to the customer's requirement. But basically, for example, we are serving very OT, or rather the OEM business model. Our storage solutions will be part of as a component, as part designed into part of their system. So it's a totally different business solutions compared to the X-PHY in. X-PHY in is more for the ICT market. It's more the IT space.
Got it. And and how is it different from the other storage solutions? You have you have AWS, you have Azure, and all those.
AWS, is a more enterprise kind of storage solution. This is not a focus of FLEXXON business model. But when you are talking about cybersecurity, yes, in the future, we do have a pipeline, the solutions that going to develop for the public cloud service provider like AWS or Azure. But for FLEXXON, our customers, because they are coming from more legacy kind of system, the industrial, medical, military, automotive. So what they need, what their focus is, they need something robust, longevity support, long life, because every of their system, their product life cycle is more than 5 years and above. 5 years is the minimum. So some of the medical devices, they can go up to 15, 20 years. So what they need, the storage partners is like us. We are able to bespoke, customize based on their system, because those kind of customers, they are more in the embedded system. So embedded system is not simple and straightforward like the normal Windows based or iOS or MacBook kind of very standard operating system. For embedded, they need a very efficient kind of operating system. So the storage devices that we support is more compatible in such an embedded environment.
And you have got customers across the globe, or you're focused on particular geographies for this?
We have been serving the customers across the globe. And if you look at our global distributor, like for example, if you go on the platform like DigiKey, New Work Funnel, Elements 14, they are selling our solution. So all the developers or the R&D guys, when they are designing their new system, they will be buying the parts from those partners, their platform, getting in our storage solutions designed into their system.
Yes. And now, Camellia, we have covered both the products that you own right now, but we will also go a little bit back on your experience, where we will ask you a few topics, on that. And the first business problem that I would like to discuss with you is related to your previous experience in FLEXXON, it seems. And the problem is most of the product teams focus heavily on visual design and functionality. And why is audio experience often ignored, and why does it matter?
Think about FLEXXON, right? FLEXXON is just part of one of our business offering. It's one part of FLEXXON. So because um our customers, when we are selling FLEXXON storage business, basically those kind of application they will have a audio requirement.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is why we kind of like bundle our solutions together with the audio um solutions to the customers.
Got it. So how is
Yeah.
this audio solution different? Like, what is it all about? Like, if you could explain that.
For audio solutions, it's really very legacy kind of business. It's nothing really interesting because for embedded type of the system, they just need a very simple and straightforward kind of acoustic solution. Because I mean, I would think that I recall maybe 7 to 10 years back when we engaged one of the advisor. So his advice is sell more to the same customer. And then from there, we were thinking that, oh, those customers who actually getting the storage solution, they will definitely need the audio solutions as well. So this is why we expand our product portfolio to the audio.
Got it. Now, a very interesting question is that for somebody like you who is building in the cybersecurity space, a good collaboration with large enterprises or hardware OEMs become very important. And in your experience, how can that partnership be encouraged?
I mean, if you are really helping your key stakeholder to address the real problem, that's how it encourage the partnership. So like for example, if I could add in the value to the OEM partners like Lenovo, right, so they will be very interested to add in such a new features into their offerings. I think the bigger trigger is about whether you are able to really address the real problem and create the values.
How do more and more startups can basically collaborate with them? I see a lot of big companies also having an innovation team, which whose work is basically to keep on talking to the startups, understand what innovation is going around. So how are you seeing Camellia? Are these legacy companies open to innovations? They are coming forward and trying to find out what best is going on, or they are still focused on building something on their own or within their own team?
When we talk about innovation, so it's really subject to what innovation level that you are talking to. If you are talking about incremental kind of innovation, you just need to follow the same ecosystem and continue to optimize your solutions. But when you are doing something really disruptive, so just like Tesla, they are coming out the EV. So when you are still in a very early phase of technological cycle, you have to build a strong foundation before you are able to even dealing with a more pragmatic kind of market. So it's really depending on which innovation level that you are talking to. But for us, because we are not in such a incremental innovation, we have to take longer time to build a strong foundation. So the strategy between the innovations, your strategy, your go-to-market strategy is very different. Those startup company, if you are focusing on the incremental innovation, your strategy is is definitely your sales and your marketing team. For disruptive kind of innovation, holistically, you need all to be able to build the strong ecosystem to penetrate yourself into such an ecosystem.
Got it. Yeah. So the next question, Camellia, is around, what are the significant differences that you have experienced between building for global markets versus niche regional markets in Asia?
Again, it's very different business model, different strategy. When you build niche market, you have less competitor, but at the same time, you need to build a very strong branding in such a niche market. But when you are targeting the mass market, but when you are targeting the mass market is if you aim for the global market, which is more for the mass market, then it's really subject to your innovation as well, because like what we are doing now for X-PHY, we are doing something brand new in the market. So the way how we set our go-to-market strategy is very different compared to the incremental innovator. But niche market is I would say that relatively easier because you have a very specific target customers. So when come to marketing, all your messaging is very targeted to your audience. But when come to global market, I mean global market also can be very niche market. Just like FLEXXON, we are actually working on the global market, which is also very niche. So the audience is about how do you communicate with your targeted audience. But if you are talking about mass market for the global markets, then you have to really build a very strong branding, working with the influencer, so on and so forth. So it's a different strategy.
Absolutely. Camilla, in the last part of this podcast, we'll like to touch upon, we'll go back to X-PHY, is what are the common objections that you face while you are pitching your solution? What are the main objections or questions which they usually ask you?
I mean, in short, it's challenges.
Yes, the challenges.
Can perceive it as a challenges. So when we pitch the hardware, the most challenging part is because like you mentioned earlier, hardware when come to deployment, the cost is higher. The deployment process is longer. So I think this is the immediate challenges.
Yes.
Second, I would say that the shifting of the mindset because cybersecurity has long been treated as a software issue. So the whole ecosystem, the tools, processes, or even the thinking is actually built around the updates, patches. So when we introduce the cybersecurity based security, it kind of like very unfamiliar. Given example like the GPU, CPU, I mean, it's very new thing to the market. Lastly, of course, it's more the internal challenges to us, which is the talents. Because talents is still catching up. Most expert, they are trained in the software, they are not hardware, and also they isn't have a hardware kind of cybersecurity. So what we perceive today for the hardware security is all limited to the key management and the encryption engine. So, but for dynamic kind of threat detection system, we need a different kind of talents. Yeah, so those are the three key challenges that we are facing.
Got it. So high cost, high deployment times.
I wouldn't say high cost is really subject to how you perceive the cost.
Absolutely.
In factor in the reputational cost, I mean, when you got your data being compromised, whether you see as a cost. Yeah. So it's really very subjective. And in today, I mean, if you look at the cybersecurity solution, ask yourself why there are still tons of company got hit every day, why the data still got compromised. We are still seeing a lot of company got hit. Why is it so? Even though they, despite of tons of cybersecurity solutions out there,
Yes.
because the methodology and approach which only can tackle the known threats. So meaning that you take at least one to be compromised for you to update the database library in order for you to identify the threats. But the current solution will not be able to detect the new threats at all. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And a higher deployment time will also involve a lot of change management. So, you need to have
So
better.
deployment is really involve the mindset. I would say that it's a mindset shifting kind of problem. Just like for example, when you first started driving the gasoline car, and now you change to EV, you have to spend time to go and charge your EV car. So
Right.
the behavior is different. But once you have built a foundation and the awareness is there and the adopters, they see the effectiveness and they see the values, and from time to time they will change the behavior. So I wouldn't want to say that the cost is higher, the deployment time is longer, but at this point, yes, it is the fact that we have to deal with it. But once we have built a foundation and the mindset kind of like shifting, and they have got used to the way that how they perceive the new way of cybersecurity, things will get easy because you already have a base, you have foundation, and then you have all the infrastructures, and the people mindsets already perceive. I mean, they are able to accept in this way.
Yes. And it will require a lot of awareness to be spread. That's very critical here. Yeah. Thank you so much, Camilla. This was very insightful because this is something different that I was basically talking about. And you can see that, I got confused in between as well, because this is a completely new concept to me. I've never kind of, dealt with such kind of a concept, but kudos to you that you're building a very innovative product,
Thank you.
which has the capability to revolutionize the entire cybersecurity space across the globe. And we wish you all the best. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.